Hello, Manitoba. I'm Larry McIntosh, and I'll be your host for the next hour. I want to give you a quick update on Manitoba-grown veggies that are available right now at your local store. There's beets, carrots, green and Savoy cabbage, cooking and red onions, red, white, and yellow pearl onions, parsnips, shallots, green acorn and butternut squash, rutabagas, and our largest crop, red, russet, and yellow potatoes. And please remember, if it says peak of the market on the label, you are guaranteed it is grown right here in Manitoba. And obviously, you're supporting local farms. My guest this afternoon is Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. Good afternoon, Anita.
Hi, Larry.
How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you.
So the first question I have to ask you, because it's obvious, is what's your favorite vegetable?
Well, as you were saying it, I think I have to say it's a tie between potato and broccoli.
And broccoli.
I love broccoli.
Broccoli is very popular these days. It's becoming more popular again. Now, Manitoba broccoli obviously is finished because, it's a little chilly outside.
I know.
But it's a very...
But that's why the potatoes, they just hang in so long.
Potatoes hang in so long. And they are good for
well.
you.
Yes.
Because Health Canada just approved about 6 weeks ago that we can now say on our bags, sodium-free, fat-free, high in vitamin C and high in iron. And more potassium than a banana. We don't say banana, but more potassium than a potato has. So they're very good for you, potatoes.
I did not know that part.
Yeah, more potassium than a banana. Now, what you put on top of it is the discipline you have to be careful with to add those extra calories.
I agree.
But it's a nice treat.
I know.
So CancerCare Manitoba Foundation, you've been there for, what 8 years or something like that?
I have.
Yeah?
It'll be 8 years and at the end of this year.
Wow. So it's gone fast.
It was funny because last year I think I ran into different people and who said, how are you liking your new job? I was like, my new job. And when they say it goes by when you're enjoying it, I have, from the day I started there, Larry, it has been an honor, and time really does fly because there's so much to learn and so much to do. So yes, I've been enjoying it, and it is an amazing place to work.
I only can imagine how much you have to learn. I mean, to talk about all the different types of cancer and all the work that's done there. And we'll talk a little bit more as the show goes on, but it must be, I know it's been 8 years, so it's not a new job for you, but it's got to be a huge learning curve.
That first year, it was overwhelming. I thought, who am I kidding? What am I doing here? Because when people talk about, have you cured cancer? And then you learn that there's over 150 different kinds of cancers in a human body, you think, oh my goodness, and each one of them has their own complexity. So huge learning curve, incredibly patient, smart, wise people in that building and across Manitoba willing to share their knowledge and expertise with me. And so really that made the difference. And so while I was busy fundraising, they were busy teaching me about what the impact of those dollars were towards making a difference with cancer. And that's the part that's been great, is just people willing to share that knowledge and share that expertise.
The CancerCare Manitoba Foundation is the fundraising arm. Is that what you would call it? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So we exist really to support CancerCare Manitoba. CancerCare Manitoba is the agency responsible for cancer control and blood disorders. And a lot of people don't realize that as well, is cancer and blood disorders across the province. And again, their mandate is all about, you want to prevent every cancer you can through knowledge around risk reduction. You want to, those that you can't prevent, you want to detect as early as possible. So all the screening programs that you hear about across the province are also under the auspices of CancerCare Manitoba. And obviously, if you can detect it earlier, the kinds of treatment options that are available and outcomes have better outcomes, and then provide the best treatment, and then support that with some incredible research and education.
So if you look at our hospital system in Canada, it's subsidized or paid for by the government. So, we take it for granted. I go visit my American friends, and it's a whole different, the insurance and everything else they have to have. So I love our system. But why is the foundation needed when the government's funding?
Great question. The government is absolutely the primary funder of CancerCare Manitoba. So when you look at chemotherapy treatments, radiation, the screening programs, et cetera, that is really your province of Manitoba, supported through your taxpayer dollars. But the reality is they also have very finite resources, and some of the programs just aren't eligible for funding, or they're just aren't enough funds available. And if CancerCare wants to compete at the level of some of the other agencies and provide world-class, state-of-the-art treatment, they're going to need some other partners. And we're one of those partners that can play a very critical role, especially when it comes to providing support around research and clinical trials. And although clinical trials really in many ways is all about state-of-the-art treatment, it's still not seen as that standard of care, standard treatment, and therefore still on the research side. The foundation plays a very pivotal role in funding clinical trials so that patients have access to that here in Manitoba. And so again, that partnership is looking at bridging the gap. What are all the pieces that are needed to give that patient experience the best it can be in this province? And so you look at all of the incredible things that the government does, and then what are the pieces we can do to supplement, to complement, to add also some of those soft pieces that just make that experience exceptional, because cancer is not a disease anybody wants to get. And so anything we can do to help make that experience the best it can be. So that's why our role is very, very beneficial to CancerCare Manitoba.
And if anybody thinks my question was coming from the point of view of being negative, we're huge supporters of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation, because we think the government supplies all those things you talked about, but that extra, whether that's the trials or just making patients more comfortable or getting a certain machine, that's our responsibility too.
Yeah, it really makes, again, it's that partnership. Nobody can do this alone. It's a mammoth task, but together we know we can make that difference, and people feel good about it. And well, Larry, I could turn the table on you on this one, because you're one of those fundraisers. You and Shelley and your organization really steps out. You can talk about how many times have you walked that 20 kilometers in raising funds, because you've had that personal experience in your family. And that's one of the ways that people can give back and really know that they're part of the solution as well. And so again, you know what that feels like, and people like you and organizations like you make that difference for the patients right here in Manitoba.
No, that's very kind of you. I mean, we do a little bit at Peak of the Market, and Shelley and I love to do something, but it's a lot of people out there that are helping you. We're speaking with Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. I'm Larry McIntosh. I just want to take a moment to tell you that there's only about a month left to get involved in the Farm to School Veggie Fundraiser. It began back in September and ends on December 9th. Now, this fundraiser is open to all Manitoba schools, public or private, K-12, and all licensed daycares anywhere in the province of Manitoba. Now, basically, the fundraiser works like this. The students sell bundles of Manitoba-grown Peak of the Market vegetables to raise money for their school or daycare. Bundle A has carrots, cooking onions, and red potatoes, and sells for $10. Bundle B has larger packs of carrots and red potatoes and cooking onions, as well as green cabbage and parsnips, and it sells for $20. The great thing about this fundraiser is that the school or daycare keeps half the selling price, a 50% profit, and it's a healthy fundraiser too. Last year, just last year alone, this fundraiser raised over $410,000 for Manitoba schools and daycares, and that's what they kept. Again, this is open to any school or daycare anywhere in Manitoba, and if you're interested in getting more information, please visit the Farm to School fundraiser website at farmtoschool.ca. That's farmtoschool.ca. We're back with Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. We were just talking off air. My father passed away probably close to 4 years ago now from pancreatic cancer. And it was very quick, as that one I can't think can be. But, I mean, you think about all the people in your lives. Everybody knows someone that's been touched by cancer. I can't think of anybody that hasn't.
Well, I think that's the scary part is the number of people diagnosed with cancer is in fact growing. And part of it is because cancer mostly is an older person's disease. And I say mostly because we all know too many young people and young children that and one is too many that have been diagnosed. But generally it is older. And as our population ages, that number is getting quite significant and daunting. The other piece, and this has got kind of a bad news, good news piece in it, we're looking at CancerCare Manitoba just tabled their 5-year cancer plan for the next 5 years. And in there, Dr. Navaratnam, who's the new CEO of CancerCare Manitoba, talks about the expectation that over the next decade, people diagnosed and living with cancer is going to increase by 50%. So when you think of how many people we already know, imagine that growing by another 50%. And then you go, okay, what does that mean? And so part of it is that diagnosis. So as we age, the numbers will grow. But the other part is the number of people living with cancer is growing. And that's because of new and better treatments. And so perhaps not cured, but someone who 10 years ago diagnosed with a lung cancer who may get 2 or 3 months could get 2 or 3 or 4 years of good quality of life because of some new treatments, because of the progress being made and better understandings, better treatments. And so, yeah, too many people growing. And in all of that is what we hope is some good news around breakthroughs of better treatments, new treatments, less toxic treatments, all impacting on a better journey.
Is it just, I mean, obviously treatments are getting better and that's for research and a whole bunch of things. Is it also earlier detection? Are we seeing that at all, or is it?
Absolutely. Again, another really good point. And you want that detection earlier because, and so when they're saying that volume is growing, yes, earlier detection is increasing the numbers. At that end, it's also getting people out of the system faster because if you can catch someone in a stage 1 with a type of cancer that's very treatable, they can be in and out of the system much quicker than someone who may have advanced stage and have, again, a less invasive procedures being done. And so the more kinds of screening available, the better. But many cancers, there still aren't those screening tools. Because when you think about screening, like the breast screening program, the colorectal screening program, cervix, you're screening a healthy population. You're asking people to take a test of which most of the population will not present with it. So you want the test to be non-invasive.
Right.
And that's the challenge, is come up with a screening tool that a healthy person could go in and most of them will find out they're still very healthy and it's fine. You don't want to do some invasive testing. And so some of the cancers don't present themselves well for a screening test that is non-invasive. And so that's why some of the other cancers get diagnosed at a later stage, more complex, more difficult treatments, et cetera. And then so they're in the system longer.
So your 8 years, the foundation, have you seen things change? Have you seen developments in that 8 years?
Absolutely. And that's the part that's so great is you watch and see that a procedure that they may have done 5 or 6 years ago, they've dramatically changed because knowledge informs their assumptions. It's all about, we have this amount of information. Add 10 more years of testing and follow-up because these are with research, you're following people all the time. You're testing those assumptions with as many and more people as possible. And CancerCare is part of a much larger system. When we think about a research, we're partnering with research all around the world. So that knowledge translation is happening here and not just being informed here. So we have a strong research platform here, but we're connected in with many other centers. And so it informs us and you adjust with new information.
In some ways, there's lots of organizations out there doing different things, but are they competing for you for fundraising in some ways? Do you look at it that way at all?
Well, in some ways you're competing, absolutely. We're competing with other incredible charities that do wonderful work. We're blessed in Winnipeg with charities that do important work that add to quality of life of many people, not just with cancer. And so you're competing, but that's reality. That's what makes our community so wonderful. So in that way, that's a nice competition to have. In cancer, I was shocked, frankly, when I started to learn that there's over 85 cancer charities in Canada. So wow, did we ever have to learn a lot about competing. We're the only cancer charity that fundraises exclusively for CancerCare Manitoba, and all the dollars stay here.
We're speaking with Annitta Stenning from CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Food and Friends. I'm Larry McIntosh. I want to tell you about Peak of the Market's Recipe of the Day that will be featured in Monday's Winnipeg Free Press and at peakmarket.com. Monday's recipe will be orange drop cookies. Now, these cookies sound interesting, as the title says orange. However, one of the ingredients is beets. So orange drop cookies will be featured recipe of the day on Monday in the Winnipeg Free Press and at peakmarket.com. And both the Winnipeg Free Press and our website have a fresh new recipe every day, 7 days a week. We'll be right back with Annitta Stenning, CancerCare Manitoba Foundation, after we take this break. Welcome back. I'm Larry McIntosh. I want to remind you that Peak of the Market has a Facebook page, so please find us and like us on Facebook. We currently have over 90,000 likes, and we'd love to have you join the group. We're updating our status regularly with news on our charity events and interesting veggie tidbits, so please find us and like us on Facebook. We're back with Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. We were talking during the news there about a big event, Guardian Angels. Tell us a little bit about that. It just happened not too long ago?
It just happened just over a week ago, and the event sold out. We were delighted, and we had over 1,000 individuals, more men this year. We were happy. It's typically mostly women, and it was great. A lot more men participated. And our keynote speaker this year was Dr. Jennifer Arnold. And for those that watched The Little Couple on TV, her and her husband came, and she has a condition called a dwarfism. So she's 3 feet 2 inches. So she's very tiny person, but she packs a powerful punch. She is a neonatal pediatric specialist in intensive care doctor. She is also an individual who has survived a cancer diagnosis, and she told her story. And as packed as that room was, Larry, you could hear a pin drop. There was a woman who spoke with the adversity she has faced from the day she's born, because with the type of condition she has, she's had to undergo many, many, many difficult hours of surgery because of her spine and bones, and then after all of that to face a cancer diagnosis. And she talks about facing life with grace. It was absolutely amazing. And she was funny and charming and just very accessible to people. And then the highlight of the show after that, of the event, is we have about 25 special models. And these are men and women who either have survived a cancer diagnosis or are still in their journey, still in treatment. And they get to fashion clothes from stores all around Manitoba.
Oh, cool.
And pretty incredible, pretty special time, because they feel the support of the people in that room. And of course, it raises incredible money for cancer care. Actually, you talked about $410,000 with your fundraisers. That night raises about that kind of money too. And again, it's because of the hours and hours of volunteers, sponsors, and people who attend. Just incredible support. We're very blessed.
I assume that's your biggest fundraiser, is it?
It's one of our biggest. Our biggest is the Challenge for Life.
Oh, right,
and again,
yes. Yeah. The 20K walk.
The 20K
the
walk.
blister walk, as I call it.
It is. That is still one of our biggest events in terms of our fundraising. And so we're pretty proud of that. Pretty incredible. So between Guardian Angel, the Gold Plated, which is coming up in the spring to support men's cancers, the Dragon Boat, and then Challenge for Life. Those are our signature events.
So those events would be something you're directly involved in, but there's lots of people that do, I don't know, we call them third-party events? Is that what that is?
Yes, and again, that's like your event, your dinner that's coming up in November. That would be a community event where organizations, individuals say they want to do something for cancer care, and they organize, whether it's a dinner, it can be a barbecue, sometimes it's motorcycle riding, it can be socials, sometimes it's someone's birthday party. So from an individual paying it forward to all kinds of events, we have close to, I would say, 400 community events of individuals supporting cancer care. And
certainly 400 is an amazing number. That's doing quick math. That's more than one a day on average, right? That doesn't take a lot of math. But I mean, and as you mentioned, we have our annual charity fundraiser dinner coming up in a couple weeks, less than a couple weeks now. And we ask people it's free to come by invitation only, but we ask people to make a donation to CancerCare Manitoba. And it's certainly not a huge fundraiser for you, but it gives some more money. But I also think that a lot of these events create awareness. But that
They create awareness around just the kind of support, things that people can do. But you'd be surprised when you say it doesn't raise a lot of money. It does, because cumulative, it's back to we can't do this alone. It's overwhelming to think the task that is facing cancer care, and they can't do it alone. But cumulatively, when each one of the people like you say, I'm going to do something, and you add it all up, our community events add up to well over $1 million.
oh, really?
From someone walking in with their cookie jar with, $20, and all the way up to a couple $1,000, $10,000, 30. It adds up, Larry, to over $1 million for those annual community events. So if people ever think they're not making a difference, oh my goodness, they are. You are. It's that cumulative impact and working at it together.
I can say we've done CancerCare Manitoba Foundation for 3, maybe 4 years now. And I've talked to people that have donated because they come to the dinner, and Manitobans are very generous, as you said earlier. And then they've had an aunt or an uncle or somebody that's been involved with cancer care and say, it's a tough time. There's no question about it, but it's an amazing facility, and they're quite impressed.
I have always said, I hope I never see you in the building.
Yes.
But if we do, you will be amazed with the type of care that you will get there and the experience, as you say, because we've tried to, that's the part where we work with cancer care, where you look after every piece. You're not just focusing on that physical treatment, you're looking at the whole person and the entire experience. The psychosocial part is just as important as the physical treatment. And I think that's what people experience when they come into cancer care, is that the care and the attention and the support, even to something as small as when they're sitting waiting for their treatment, being offered juice or coffee and a cookie. And it seems so small, but it's just that other extra little piece. Being able to go into the guardian angel caring room, knowing that you're going to lose all of your hair, and being able to pick out a wig, being shown how to draw eyebrows on, and just those sensitive, thoughtful things that just know it's about the human being going through
an incredible journey, scary journey, and all those little things you're talking about. We're speaking with Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. I'm Larry McIntosh. Food and Friends Radio is on TV. Each radio show is filmed and will be posted on Mytoba.ca later today. So if you want to see the TV version of this or previous radio shows, please visit Mytoba.ca. You can also listen to an audio podcast of Food and Friends at SoundCloud.com or at the iTunes Store. So just do a search for Food and Friends with Larry at Mytoba.ca or SoundCloud.com or at the iTunes Store, and all the shows will come up for your listening or viewing pleasure. It's very important for me to mention that Food and Friends is only available because of 680 CJOB and its advertisers. So please make sure you tune in right here every Sunday afternoon at 1 or listen live at cjob.com. We're back with Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. You're talking about all the amazing things that's happening there, and the machinery and all different types of cancer, over 150, you said earlier in the last half hour. The demand continues, I assume, as far as patients.
Unfortunately, yes, the demand continues. As we talked about in terms of looking at the next 10 years alone, expecting that both in terms of people being diagnosed and living with cancer, expecting that to increase by as much as 50%. When you look at our facilities, sadly, the pressure that puts on our facilities is quite incredible. And so being able to respond to that and plan for it, and being able to make sure, because part of the experience is also around wait times and access. And if we're out of space, then that increases wait times. How many people can you get through radiation? Like right now, we have some of the best standards in the country in terms of the time to get in and go through radiation treatments. But we want to keep that kind of incredible standard. But if the demand exceeds our capacity, so one of the things we have been working with CancerCare and of course with the province, they're very, very key. They are the lead, is around expanding physical space. in order to be responsive, to make sure that that patient experience continues to be an excellent experience, that waiting times aren't increasing. If anything, they're decreasing. Being able to make sure that if there's new equipment available, if there is a better pathway for how the facilities are organized, and doubling our research space, because the more knowledge, the better impacts and the better outcomes. And so we are in the midst of working with the province, working with CancerCare. It's something they talk about in their 5-year plan of having to expand to be able to respond to that need. And again, respond not just to the newly diagnosed, but the fact that more and more people are living with cancer. They're in the system for a lot longer, and we need to be able to take care of them as well.
So that's going to be a whole new campaign coming up at some point, because that's a big capital cost.
It is. And so as much as we do incredible with our events,
Sure.
we also rely on the generosity of donors who give us major gifts every year, and will hopefully agree to be part of a capital campaign in addition to our annual gifts, who could do monthly giving. Our legacy gifts are incredible. People who leave a gift in their will, so that gift can continue on and as a legacy beyond their own lives. And so absolutely, being able to tell people what is coming, give them an opportunity to be part of it, and really, again, continue to be part of the solution. We've just been blessed by donor support.
And all those things are important. I mean, being on a wait list when you know you need treatments or you need to, that's scary, right?
Mm-hmm.
My sister who lives in Ontario has cancer and she's fine now, but she had a long wait list, and that time you feel like you're losing time. You can't, get diagnosed or the treatment that you need. So that's obviously a very important thing. But as you're saying, you're going to run out of room at some point in time with, fortunately, so many people living longer. That's a great thing.
Yeah, and it is. You can feel it now. You can, even in the building that we're in, we've taken probably as many rooms apart as we can, and there's none left in terms of just expanding that clinic space and expanding space where a new piece of equipment might be able to fit, et cetera. When we recruit, being able to recruit researchers is a critical part. Oncologists, clinicians want to be part of a strong research platform within a care facility. We have no more lab space. When we recruit, we're not able to provide that lab space for new recruits. And so that's important because we're competing with other centers across Canada, across North America. And we need to be able to, when we're recruiting, say, we can provide exactly the same or better in terms of state-of-the-art equipment, research labs, clinic space, et cetera. So it's important for who we recruit. It's important for the patients who are being treated by those who we recruit. So it's all of those pieces of the puzzle that work together. So again, we are the partner. The primary is government. They made a wonderful announcement in 2011 around supporting an expanded facility, and it's something now we've assembled the land, so we now have the space available, and so
right in the area you are now?
Right in the
okay.
area, because it needs to be adjacent to CancerCare.
I wouldn't have thought there was any land left in that area.
Well, you just have to look around and
Okay.
find somebody who's willing to say yes and work with the community for that solution. And now it's about, again, working together with government and saying, what are the next steps and how do we make sure this happens for the patients of Manitoba who are looking to us to be that solution together, that partnership.
And I think CancerCare Manitoba is an amazing facility. Everything I hear about it is incredibly positive. And as you said in an earlier segment, hopefully most of our listeners never have to go there because they don't get cancer. That would be the ultimate.
Yes.
Does the hospital or the CancerCare Foundation also, or the CancerCare Manitoba also do preventative things to try and get the word out about how you can prevent?
Yeah, and absolutely. It's one of the things we also work with them on is the whole risk reduction. And we launched, it was before with the bears, the bear facts.
Oh, right, yes.
And then we morphed into the Kick Cancer, the little red box, and Together We Can, Kick Cancer. And a big part of that is about saying people can reduce their risk of cancer by up to 50%. And if you take on 5 strategies, and that's the be smoke-free, and if you're already smoking, then quit. That's one of the biggest ones. Eat well. And again, something you promote, healthy eating, vegetables, all of that is a critical part, a healthy diet. exercise, being active, cover up. The sun can be brutal. Cover up from the sun and get that annual checkup from getting that baseline, et cetera. And so that is a huge part of it, and that's where Cancer Care wants to play a big role, is prevention.
We're speaking with Anita Stenning from CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Please join me Wednesday, November 11th at noon for a special Remembrance Day edition of Food and Friends. And my guest will be Phil Hood from River East Travel. My guest today has been Annitta Stenning, President and CEO of CancerCare Manitoba Foundation. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. And Larry, likewise. You're a wonderful ambassador for this community, and thank you for your support.
Well, thank you for your kind words. If anybody's interested in the foundation, what's the website?
CancerCare FDN, CancerCare Manitoba, FDN.ca.
They can always Google it, I'm
Yes.
sure. Thanks very much, and thank you for listening. Take care, and please, don't forget to eat your veggies.